I have just had the most wonderful conversation with Harriet Neill, the founder of the Centralist brand. She was discussing everything from dropping out of school to now having her hats on the cover of Vogue.
You want to be confident in your brand.
Yeah.
Whether that's in 5 months or a year or 5 years, you have to be able to stand there and sell it. The brand is one thing, but you become your brand.
It was such an inspirational conversation, showing students that there isn't one path to success.
I didn't actually plan to have a business. I didn't write a business plan or anything. Someone just asked me and I said, yeah, sure. And then that's how I started, yeah.
I really hope you enjoy. Hey guys, and welcome to the Nova and Boba podcast. We will be taking a deep dive into the realities of the lives as a young entrepreneur. We'll be exploring the highs and lows and everything in between while starting a business as a Gen Z founder, while of course drinking some boba tea to help you better decide if entrepreneurship is right for you. So today we are so excited to welcome our second ever guest, Harriet Neill, to the Nova and Boba podcast. Harriet Neill is the 24-year-old founder of the Sensualist brand. The Centralist brand is a luxury accessories brand located in the UK. Every piece is carefully crafted in their studio, and the pieces have been featured on the cover of Elle and Vogue. The brand is loved by celebs all across the UK, and each piece is designed bespokely to limit material waste. Thank you for being here today, Harriet.
Thank you for having me, Emma.
So how are you feeling?
I'm feeling great. It's so great to sit down with you.
Brilliant. And then how do you feel about your bubble tea?
I'm very happy about it. I don't drink much bubble tea, to be honest, but now I've had a sip. I might make it my new thing.
Yeah, I think you should. And you look
really
amazing.
Refreshing.
Yeah.
Thank you. So do you.
Oh,
beautiful
this
as always, Emma.
Oh, stop it.
You look great.
Okay, so what people don't know is Harriet and I actually go way back to primary school. So it's amazing that Harriet is sat here today with her Sensualist brand. So I see you're wearing your brand today.
Yes, I am. This is the new mini. I haven't actually released this hat yet, but it's more wearable for every day.
Yeah.
Whereas I do the bigger sizes, which maybe are more for the club or going out and stuff like that. So definitely, I'm going to release these soon.
Yeah. And I've seen loads of celebrities wearing your big, Sensualist hats.
Yeah.
And how did that start? How did you get from an idea to where people, like big celebrities wearing your hats?
Yeah, and that's the thing, that's what everybody kind of wants to know, and there's no kind of way to do it.
Yeah.
No one told me how to do it. I wasn't taught that at uni, but I just tried to think, okay, I have access to these people on Instagram, access to stylists. I kind of watched the London creative scene at a distance for a long time and thought, I want to be in that, so how do I get there? So I'd just be shameless. I'd message people, say, these are my hats. You have to in the beginning. And you have to build your online presence and take great photos, send them to stylists, and then they say, oh yeah, I'd love to use it. And then, so it's the stylists that link you to the celebrity.
Okay.
So I never talk to any, sometimes I do, but mainly it's their stylists who will reach out to me and then say, oh, they're doing a show, can we get a few hats to try? Wow. But I don't actually know if they're going to wear it sometimes. So
they'll do you think they must strike quite a few people and then on the day they'll just...
Yeah, I mean, they'll pull so many pieces from different designers. So something really exciting might come up, like Ella Eyre for Wembley came up, and I really wanted her to wear it, but I didn't know until she went out on stage that she wore it. Yeah, so it's that's what keeps it exciting, though, and keeps it fresh, because you never know what's around the corner. Yeah. So, yeah, and
I'd love to take it back to A-levels.
Yes, you were there, Emma.
I was there. When you told me you're dropping out of school.
Yes.
And all those years ago, tell us what went through your mind, what made that final decision where, because everyone follows that trajectory, you finish your GCSEs and you do A-levels. What made you feel like, you know what, this is not for me? Yeah. Even though everyone was like, Harriet, why are you doing that? Even I remember being like, Harriet, don't go.
I think it was a huge knockback for me when I failed my A-levels. We studied together, didn't we, in the library? Yeah. And we worked hard.
Yeah, very hard.
So when I got that letter through, that envelope, that dreaded envelope, and I failed my A-levels basically, I was thinking, okay, what now sort of thing.
You mean AS levels in year 12?
Yeah, so then, I mean, I always knew I wanted to get into fashion, but it would have been ideal to have my A-levels first. But yeah, I just thought, I'm going to take the leap, drop out. Not many people at our school did.
They didn't. No, I don't think,
Yeah, so it was a big, And I remember my mum, she wasn't very happy, and especially when I said I wanted to do fashion, she was like, oh gosh, like, are you going to earn money? It's a really hard industry to crack and get into.
Especially even without A-levels, yeah.
Yeah, well, I mean, I got into college and then studied there for 2 years. And then that got me into uni. So with creative things, it's actually sometimes better to go to college. And it was better for me because I learned how to sew at college.
Brilliant.
Whereas a lot of the girls I started with, and guys started with in uni, they'd never sewn before. So I kind of had a foot up in that way. I knew what I was doing. I'd done pattern cutting before. But yeah, I would definitely say to anybody, A-levels aren't everything. And I think school will definitely make you think that it is. But it depends what you want to go into. I mean, for fashion and creative things, it's about what you make. It's about them skills, which you don't learn at school.
You don't learn at school, yeah. So what made you, so I remember the teacher saying to you, she said something to you, and I really want you to share that.
What you're going to do?
Yeah.
I remember she said, they basically didn't want to keep me on anyway because at our school. Because my grades weren't good enough, and it's a business for them at the end of the day. They want people to get the grades and go to the best unis. And I was never going to go to one of the Russell Group's unis with my grades. So she's kind of said, what are you going to do? And I said, I think I'm going to go to fashion college. And she said, I think that's a good idea. And it was kind of like, that was it. But it was the best thing that ever happened to me. And sometimes getting knocked back. Yeah. It's about how you rise up from that and what opportunities are around you, what can you do, and what skills do you have.
Because I was thinking, most people think, okay, I failed year 12 AS. Well, even I don't really like saying fail.
It was a fail, but it was a fail,
Okay, no, but failed, in the academic sense, but not in the life sense. But what, people are like, I'll just repeat the year then. What made you feel like, I'm here for something different, and I'm not going to, keep repeating and
I think I'm quite a stubborn person, and if I don't succeed, it does annoy me, and I think, I could have tried again, and is the same thing going to happen again? Does my brain work like that? Am I capable of writing essays and retaining all this information, or am I naturally gifted with using my hands and being more creative? And I think I realised that and had to act on that, and I didn't want to fail again, and I didn't want to waste time. I thought, I'm just going to go for it and take the leap.
So how were your parents in this whole thing? Because I remember you said your mum was quite shocked, but were they shocked but supportive, shocked but maybe telling you to do something else? How was their whole thought process?
Well, I mean, I went and did fashion design at college, and they were fine about that. They were proud I got into the college. But then the issue was when I said I wanted to do fashion design at uni, they were kind of hoping that I'd go towards more of the business side of fashion. And I actually applied to do buying and merchandising at Manchester and got in and did it for 2 weeks. And I did 2 weeks, 2 weeks. And I was sat in the lecture hall, and I remember so clearly going for a Nando's with Bella, who you know. And I just said, this just isn't for me. And she said, I think you have to change. Really? And I remember, so I remember telling my mum that, and that was not good. She was like, you're not going to be able to get a job if you do fashion design. Are you going to earn enough money? I knew that if I did buying and merchandising, there's more of a career path there. It's more of a stable job. Not saying that the fashion industry isn't, but a lot of people want to be a fashion designer. It's a dream for a lot of people. So it is the dream. It's the dream. It's like saying you want to be an athlete almost. It's like a completely out there sort of statement to make.
And it's weird, in everyday society people are like, calm down, even though they have to be fashion designers.
But it's quite, I think in a way you have to not think a lot of yourself, but you kind of have to really back yourself in the beginning to say, I'm good enough to do it. So many people want to do it. You have to have that self-belief to do it. But so my mum wasn't very happy, but she's happy now. She's proud now.
Because you're on the cover of Vogue.
Well, it's great, and these great things happen. But it's definitely time to upscale it and get more of a more money, basically. That's important. As much as it's a passion, it's important to make money and earn money as well. So
well, people, when you first were doing fashion design, did a lot of people side-eye you? Was there any sort of negative feedback?
No.
So a lot of your friends were like, okay, good.
I think they know. Well, I always had my friend Sam. Sam Sands, and he's into the creative as well. So he was always someone to kind of bounce my ideas with, and for reassurance as well. We're both going into this unknown territory, and how are we going to make it work? But
yeah, it's good to have friends. Yeah, in the same industry to support.
Definitely.
Yeah, because the journey's hard, and if you don't have people that support you, it's like very, very difficult.
Yeah.
So yeah, I just wanted to go into what advice would you give to other young, passionate, and driven entrepreneurs? Would you encourage them to like drop out of school to pursue their creative ambitions? What would you say?
I'd say stay in school.
Okay,
I would say stay. Well, I think if I had known after I finished my GCSEs that that is what I wanted to do, then I would have probably left school then and got straight into college. But I didn't know and I wasn't sure, so I had that breathing space for a little bit. But I think if you're passionate about something and you know that that's what you want to do, I think you know people that do creative stuff especially, it's inside of you and it usually is from a young age. So as soon as you can explore that and be taught properly how to pattern cut or whatever it is you're doing, definitely get into it as soon as you can. But I think get your A-levels if you can. If you can.
Fair enough.
I mean, I was out, but definitely.
And let's take it back, because you said if you've got something you're passionate about it when you were younger. When did you know you liked fashion?
Gosh, it sounds so cliche because it's like that passion for fashion sort of thing, but I had it from such a young age. I mean, from like the age of 8, I had a sketchbook and I'd be drawing outfits. I remember my nan always used to take me to Selfridges and Harriets, and I used to see all the clothes, and it just made me feel so alive. But also I think from a young age, fashion has always been such a safe space for me to explore my own personality and project whatever's inside. It's always been like that for me with the way I dress. So it's always been there.
It's always been there.
Yeah, it's always been there.
You think just throughout your life it was just waiting to come out, like eventually everything you did from 8 years old going to Selfridges led to...
Well, I think it was that thing of I enjoyed it as a hobby, for sure. I enjoyed the sketching and I enjoyed seeing the clothes, but did I know that I wanted to make a career out of it when I was 8? I don't know. But because you're not really thinking about that, are you? But I think as well, I ideally wanted to go and do a different job. If I could have done, I don't know, be a scientist or something like that, that would have been great. But I think it's recognising your strengths and your weaknesses. Like, you can have a wild idea, but are you going to be able to do it? Are you going to be able to get to where you want to be? Yeah,
and it's walking in line with your strengths, isn't it? Did you feel that sometimes in school when you're forced to write essays, you're working against maybe what you're naturally good at?
Yes, definitely. I mean, school was fine for me and I was good at school and I got good grades up until A-levels. And
A-levels was different.
That just completely picked me up and threw me around, and everything I thought I was capable of, it really pushed me back, and I was like, whoa, so maybe I'm not as good at something as I thought. Maybe I can't write the best essay, or maybe I don't know enough about history or stuff like that. But I think recognising your strengths and weaknesses is really important. And it's hard to know that. It takes time to reveal them parts, you know. I didn't know until I got knocked back that I had to go down a different path. So you've got to trust the process, I think, and go with the flow, and don't put pressure on yourself to know what you want to do, or, you know, because there is so much pressure on kids, especially to figure it out, choose your A-levels, what you're going to do at uni, then what job are you going to get. It's so much to think about at such a young age. You mentioned your grandma used to take you around Selfridges and Harrods when you were 8 years old, and then you recently had a pop-up in Bond Street, so, you know, a similar area. How did that feel? Yeah, that was a really surreal moment, to be honest, and it was quite emotional, and I think my parents were definitely emotional too. Because that was just my dream. I actually get shivers. It's crazy because that was my dream always. From being in fashion college, I mean, like, and then going to uni, I wanted to be in there. I wanted to be in the creative scene. And then I was finally there, standing, selling my hats, and meeting people. People came out to see me who'd follow me on Instagram, and I just remember being so surprised that people actually came and took time out of their day to come and see me and try on a hat and buy a hat. And it was just, amazing and surreal and great to be in real life, because everything's online these days. And it's so hard to, and I'm grateful for that. Everybody's got a platform on their phone. Anyone can download Etsy or, you know, share your work, but actually to stand and meet people it was amazing. And it was amazing,
How long did it take you to get to a pop-up Bond Street? Because everyone's like, oh, that, you know, looks like it happened overnight. You know, maybe see you on Instagram and it's like, oh, she's got a pop-up in like Bond Street. But how long and how much work did that take?
Gosh, I mean, what, for the actual pop-up?
To get your brand to a stage where it could be at the pop-up.
Gosh, so I started the Centralist a year and a half ago now, I think. And gosh, yeah, it's been a lot of work. I mean, the thing is with pop-ups, you can do a pop-up, you can apply, and the people who are in charge will review your application, and they might accept you or they might not. But you want your brand, you want to be confident in your brand.
Yeah.
Whether that's in 5 months or a year or 5 years, you have to be able to stand there and sell it and make people believe in you and your brand, because the brand is one thing, but you become your brand. You know what I mean? You need to know what you're talking about. You need to know your materials, where you're getting them made, because people will fire different questions at you. But I think as well, I mean, the first day I remember being a bit shaky, but the more I got into it, that's why it was so good for me. You relax more, you get more used to talking about your brand, But it just depends, I think, on the person and your product as well.
How did you start the Centralist brand? Like, what was the initial idea? And because we really want our young entrepreneurs listening, like, we want to know how you actually get started, you know, from idea to seeing it in real life.
Right. Yeah. So my hats were such a last minute thing. So I made my final collection, which was a lingerie line for transgender women. That's what I did for my final year. And I finished a day early and had this extra time, which is unlike me, because usually I'm lastminute.com, like rushing around. And I thought, well, I could make some accessories, and made these hats in a day.
Wow.
I mean, the first hat was awful. So have hope. You've got to develop your product.
So it didn't look like this?
If I'll show you a photo, it was awful.
Really? Yeah.
But so I put that up on social media, and someone just messaged me and said, would you think about selling them? So it was a really organic process. I didn't actually plan to do it, like have a business. I didn't write a business plan or anything. Someone just asked me, and I said, yeah, sure. And then someone else asked me, and then it started to grow like that. And I was like, okay, maybe I should set up an Instagram for this. And then in the beginning, I mean, I was just accepting orders over Instagram DM and invoicing people, which isn't the most professional thing, but people trusted me. That's how I started, and then I got onto Etsy, which was great, and I used that for a long time, but they take a lot of fees from you through marketing. And then I eventually worked on my website and got my website out, which I made myself, which is quite easy to do.
Using what sort of tool?
I'm on GoDaddy.
Nice.
So you pay a monthly fee, but it's all professional. The order notifications go through. That's how I got here, basically. But
brilliant.
It's just such an organic kind of flow. I didn't think too much about it.
So people had that traction. There was that traction, even though you weren't meant to. Like, people like, I want to buy this. And you just sold them to them.
Yeah. I think I had 2 orders on my just through my personal account, and then I started to think. And I remember a friend saying to me, like, you know, Harry, you could do something with this. Like, why don't you try? And then it was daunting at first, so daunting because I had no experience in business really, other than what I'd learnt at uni. But I just kind of took the leap, and it grew on Instagram. And now I'm here.
Because I've seen the market. I want to touch into marketing and branding. I've seen your TikTok. Your TikToks, they're brilliant. And then how did you get the inspiration, the marketing, the branding right, you know, making sure there's constant traction towards your business?
So when I was making my final collection was actually called the Centralist, which is my transgender line for transgender lingerie line, sorry. So I really grew my kind of my story, my brand story then. So I had a long time to do that. I mean, 6 months. But I'd say, your kind of brand identity needs to be strong. I mean, mine's all about sex appeal, feeling good. A lot of the photo shoots I do have lingerie involved. It's about that sensual feeling, and feeling your best and feeling confident. Because, like I said, that's what fashion's always been for me. So that's the feeling I want to transfer to people as well. So I think being true to yourself. I mean, people do mood boards and things like that, but I think acting more on impulse and figuring it out that way, but everybody's different. But
because in business it seems like, you know, people are always like, you need a plan, you need to know what your next steps, but it seems like, you know, you can just feel it, like things happen, will work out for you.
Definitely. And I think because I have no business background, it is learning on the job, and it's coming across obstacles that you're going to have to get over. And sometimes it's better to be put in that position and how you're going to act. You have to be impulsive, but be able to think things through, because if a problem arises, you need to be able to solve it in that day sometimes. So yeah.
And what are some of your biggest obstacles you face whilst running the Centralist?
I mean, my prices have just gone up for my materials, so that's something I'm dealing with at the moment. They've gone up quite a lot. I mean, the postage strikes have been a huge thing.
Oh yeah.
That's been a huge thing, because people, if they want a hat for a wedding, or if a stylist needs a hat for a photo shoot, so sometimes, I mean, the other day, I had to go and meet a girl in Finchley Park. I was meeting her, and then all of these problems came up with the tube. Everyone had to get off the train, so then I had to just pay the money and get the hat in an Uber, because it has to get there. Even if I'm losing money, it has to get there, because it's my name on the line.
It's a brand thing, and it's like, oh, you'd rather have it turn up. And
of course, yeah. But I mean, things come up all the time. I sometimes, like, making sure your stock's there. I can go and make a hat sometimes and realise, oh my gosh, I didn't realise that I didn't have enough feather or something. But yeah. You just got to be able to push through and overcome it, and nothing's the end of the world at the end of the day. I'm not doing heart surgery, so it is just a hat.
Yeah, but it still means a lot to you.
Yeah, it's a magical hat, but
yeah. And then you mentioned that, you know, sometimes you could even lose money getting a hat to someone. How is sort of the, you know, financing of your business? How have you been able to sustain yourself, you know, sort of this time?
Yeah, so with my hats, I've got a bit of a stock now, but I, in the beginning, only ordered what I needed. So if I got an order, my supplier is on eBay. So I get next day delivery, she sends it to me. So I haven't had to invest a lot of money. I mean, when I work with influencers, I then invest like the time, the hat, the postage and everything like that. Yeah. And I'll just take that money out of the orders I make. So I wouldn't really gift to someone if I can't afford it that month. Yeah. But yeah, you have to be careful, because also you've got other things to do. You want to socialise, you want to live your life. So it is a difficult thing to balance finances. But luckily for me, I haven't had to invest too much at the moment. I mean, to be able to go to the next step, I'd love to be able to. For my pop-up, I had to invest, but I also work another job, which I was telling you about earlier. With my,
which people don't know about entrepreneurship, but people are balancing multiple things.
Yes, yeah, and that can make your head feel so full, like so many tabs are open. Because I work for my mum and brother's business as well. They have a day club for people with disability, so I work there twice a week. So I have that cash flow if orders aren't coming in as much as I'd like to, and I use the money for that to put into my brand. But it's difficult.
It's difficult. Is the dream one day to work solely on your brand, or do you like that balance of like doing different things, helping your mum and brother?
So I'd love to do like work solely on my own brand, but I need to have a team, because it's a lot to do on your own. I mean, I'm the seamstress, I do the marketing, I do the quality checking, like everything is done by me, the Instagram, messaging people. I mean, even messaging people and replying to emails takes a lot of time. And organising, there's a lot that goes into it. So to have a team, a creative team, that would just be my dream to have that.
And what do you think the next steps are for you to get there?
Oh gosh, I think ideally now I'd love to get into a luxury store in London. To get there, I mean, I've been thinking about how I'm going to approach that, and how I'm going to stand out against all the other people making hats. So that's something that's on my mind at the moment. Also, so I want to expand my product range as well. So I'm working on bags at the moment too. Okay. Yes, which is really fun, because I'm collecting all the pieces and changing things and tweaking things, and it's all kind of coming together. And that's the exciting part of having your own brand, is you kind of build something. It's like a little baby in a way. And you nurture it, and it's just yours, and then you release it to the world, and it's really fun. But and then I've got these mini ones coming out, but I also need to do a summer hat, I think. So small, wearable in the heat. But And
what would you say to the listeners? What's the most challenging part of being an entrepreneur? And say, what's the most challenging part?
Oh gosh, I'd say for me it would be working from home on my own is really hard, because it can feel quite isolating.
Quite lonely, I imagine.
Yeah, it's lonely, that's the thing, and you're trying to think of the end goal, which is to have your own team and have your own studio.
So you can meet
with people. It is hard. And then, oh gosh, this is a big one. I'd say saying no to social events is hard. That's a reality, because sometimes you might have too much work to do. When I was preparing for my pop-up, I mean, I wasn't going out. because you've got a deadline, you need to meet it, and it's your name on the line at the end of the day, and people are expecting things from you, which is great. I mean, I love that pressure as well, but I'm 24 and people are partying.
The young graduate life. Yeah.
Oh my gosh, I mean, and I love to party. But my friends will finish at 5, 9 till 5,
and
they
got
clock
5
off. I'm like, oh gosh, you don't switch off when you have your own, as you would know as well. You're never off, always replying to people. I mean, I'll even be on a night out sometimes replying to people, and it's never ending. But I think that endorphin you get when it's a natural high when someone orders a hat, when someone you see a photo shoot come through that's in Vogue, or you know your hat's in a video of J. Cole, like them moments are wow, that knocks you back, and that makes me feel amazing. That makes them nights where I am on my own sewing with a podcast on and a cup of tea. It makes it worth it. That's the feeling I strive for.
So you mentioned 2 really big things, like the isolation and the social life. So I just wanted to dig into the isolation. Like, how does it feel on the day-to-day when you're on your own? How do you cope with that? You know, being on your own, being quite a bit lonely. You know, everyone's got their graduate maybe in the office having fun with other, like, you know. And
they go for after-work drinks and things like that. Well, I'd say exercising is a big thing for keeping me upbeat, and going for a daily walk. I mean, I've got 2 dogs as well, so I talk to them all day. I have a podcast on. But I mean, I remember leading up to my pop-up, I wasn't eating great, and I was working a lot because you're busy. You're not eating great, I wasn't exercising enough, and I know I'm performing my best, and working from home is okay if you're going for a daily walk, or just even going to the co-op to get a drink, you know, just getting that fresh air and having some vitamin D.
Because you can be at home all day and not even realise, and it's like 5 p.m. and you're like, where did even the day go?
Literally all the time.
And you've just been on your own.
And it is isolating. I mean, I was talking about this with my friend as well, and she said, you know, you need to think about the bigger picture. How is this going to look? What do you want? But it's true, you sometimes think, am I missing out on this kind of work culture that a lot of people have?
Because I was wondering, do you think it's worth sacrificing these early years of your life? People are like, you know, 20s can be the best time of your life, and you're there in your room on your own, sewing, hoping for this better thing, but there's not even a guarantee that that's gonna.
I mean, all the time. That's one of the main things that comes through my head. Like, is this gonna be worth it? Is it gonna pay off? But I think for me, the stage I'm at now is I can't imagine doing anything else, and it's such a passion for me that I have to try. I have that fear of being 60 and being regretful that I didn't try something that I love, and I feel like I have something to share with people, and I have something to say, and I want to make people feel good, and that's so strong that outweighs the going for after work drinks. But then it is difficult. I'm not going to pretend it isn't, but
that's really, really deep, and I still see you having a lot of fun. Anyway, so do you still, how do you find that way to maintain that work-life balance anyway?
Oh my gosh, that's so important. I mean, in the beginning, I was working a lot of weekends to kind of get it to where it's at now, to kind of have a bit of a following and an audience. So that did take sacrifices. I mean, now I kind of know what I'm doing, and I do try and give myself a weekend off, even if I'm replying to people. That's a given. I'd always be doing that. Or if I had a lot of orders to get through, then I would. But I try and give myself Saturday and Sunday off now to just relax and unwind, because otherwise you burn out, and that's a really bad thing. And I've done that.
Really?
Where I've literally,
Tell us about that.
I mean, I had so much work on. I remember I was making 6 hats for a client for their tour.
Explain what's the process of making a hat, actually. And then
so I start with a base. So I make the base, which is just a plain sort of material, and then the feather comes in long boas. So I do 32 colours, so it's a lot of range. And then it's quite hard to explain, but I guess I kind of tack it and make the material all around. So it's a really long process. And then this is the brim is hand sewn, and then it's lined with satin, and then it's difficult to explain, but it's a long process, and nobody taught me how to do it. I just kind of figured it out. But
and then how did that
take a long time?
Yes,
because I mean, if you're on a sewing machine and you're not taking any breaks, and you've got 6 hats to make for these people, and they contracted you, and you've got a deadline to meet, and it has to go to America, and is it going to get there in time, and the tour's starting, like that pressure is immense, and it's just on you. But I'd say the best thing to do is just not bite off more than you can chew. You have to be honest with yourself in that respect before taking on a project. Can I fulfill this? Am I going to be able to do this? Is it going to be more stress than it's worth? And I don't mean sure it's going to be stress, but have you got enough time? Is the deadline too short? And are you going to be able to fulfill it? Because quality is a huge thing. That quality has to be tip top. If people are paying a lot of money for a hat, it has to be exceptional. So I think definitely not taking on too much doesn't lead to a burnout.
So on the podcast, we're going to ask Harriet some quick fire questions to get to know her a bit better. So Harriet, what is your favourite fashion business?
My favourite right now is a girl called Selena. She does Selena Knits on Instagram. Beautiful hand woven materials. It's just stunning. The colour palette is so gorgeous. Yeah. She's great. Check her out.
Do you ever take inspiration from like influencers or people that own their own brands?
I try not to, just because you want to stay true to yourself. But I mean, I definitely am inspired by them for sure. But I wouldn't take Yeah.
And would you rather be chronically underdressed or overdressed for the rest of your life?
Overdressed, of course. Yeah. I mean, I'm such an overdressed queen. This is a very subtle outfit.
Yeah, it's quite subtle, isn't it?
Overdressed, 100%.
Would you rather go head to toe in Louis Vuitton or Prada?
Prada.
Oh, okay, lovely. Yeah. Given the choice of anyone in the world, whom would you want as a dinner guest?
Oh my gosh. Maybe Prince, I think. I just think he'd be so sexy, cool, dinner vibes. Yeah. Great fashion. He'd be dressed to the nines. Yeah.
Oh, he would be, wouldn't he?
Yeah, he'd be great.
Wouldn't he? Yeah. And what's your life mantra, Harriet?
Gosh, I was going to say live, laugh, love.
That's all right.
No, I think be true to yourself and don't worry about what other people think of you.
Yeah.
And live authentically.
Brilliant.
That'd be my,
Yeah, and then we're going to wrap up with some closing thoughts. So what does the future look like for you, Harriet?
Oh, I hope in the future I have my hats, my brand in luxury stores across the world, hopefully. I'd love to have a team and be happy and successful. Yeah,
brilliant.
Be happy,
if there's a young person listening now who does not know whether to stay in school, work or uni, what would you tell them?
I would say take some time to figure out what it is you want to do, and try not to be influenced by other people or what other people expect you to do. But I also understand that's a privileged point of view. I mean, not many people would have the opportunity sometimes to do what I do. So I think just do what feels right and definitely take the time to think about it. Yeah.
And what is your most enjoyable aspect of being an entrepreneur?
Oh gosh, it's seeing people in my hats and gloves, and it's them telling me that they feel amazing and they feel inspired and they've been pushed out of their comfort zone, and it gives them confidence. Because I know it's just a hat to a lot of people, but I think there is something in them. And it is about the person underneath the hat for me, and it's about bringing them out their shell and inspiring them to dress how they want to dress, and push against the grain and don't look like everybody else. Yeah. And
last but not least, any final thoughts or words of wisdom you'd like to leave us with?
I'd say work hard, follow your heart, but definitely take some time out if you need it. That's all I've got to say.
Brilliant. Thank you so much. Thank you so much for watching. If you liked this episode, please like, comment and subscribe. If you gained anything useful, let us know in the comments. Let us know the businesses you want to start. Thanks. Bye.